ESPN needs to fire Malika Andrews. I'm going to say it again. Yes, I'm coming out and saying it for the last time. I tried not to even cover this story because it's ridiculous at this point. ESPN has to let Malika Andrews go. Malika Andrews, again and again, repeating the same action. Periodically, she has a habit of bringing up the criminal records of players that she's covering. What happened to unbiased reporting? There's a clear and obvious bias to what Malika Andrews is doing. This time with Brandon Miller, the number 2 pick in the draft, I think she's gone too far.
Miller, his name did surface in court testimony involving a case where his former teammate and another man, they've been indicted for capital murder in the fatal shooting of 23-year-old Jamia Harris in January. The University of Alabama has described Miller as a cooperating witness. How is this factoring, if at all, into how teams are evaluating him?
Yeah, Malika, part of the
I don't think it would be brought up at all if it wasn't for Malika just bringing it up on national television right now.
Exactly. Malika Andrews, for some reason, is not ever reprimanded for what she does in disparaging players and bringing up their past at every given turn. If she can find, it's like she does research specifically for the negative things that have happened in these players' careers in an attempt to mess up their career, mess up their bag. And, at a certain point, I know there's protection of the press, there's freedom of speech, but when you say these things, there have been several incidents where she has brought up someone's criminal past and or allegations about them that could potentially impact their money. But for some reason, we don't get Malika Andrews and ESPN the message clearly on what this is doing, and that this isn't normal, this isn't regular, this isn't par for the course. I don't think I've ever seen a sports commentator more concerned with digging up past allegations. In the case of Brandon Miller, who spent 1 season playing for Alabama, the 5-star recruit quickly established himself as one of the top players in college basketball. One of the best in the 2023 class, and he was selected 2nd overall in the draft. Charlotte Hornets selected Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller was the SEC Player of the Year. You don't hear Malika talking about that. The newcomer of the year. But on Thursday night, before Brandon was selected, we had Malika Andrews attempting to sabotage Brandon by bringing up an ongoing murder case. Most of this has been misproven. He was not the gunman at all. He was not charged in connection with the crime. He didn't kill anybody. His teammate didn't kill anybody. Somebody they knew actually ended up deleting somebody. But Malika, in her research, I know I could see her in her apartment typing away, Googling, okay, who in the draft here has some type of criminal allegations that I can bring up to put a damper on the celebration that is the draft. So many players play their whole careers to get to this point. And this is the problem I've had for a long time with commentators that have never played the sport. Now, I don't know if Malika Andrews played high school girls basketball, but trust me, it's not the same. When you're going to that pro level and your draft night has approached and arrived, you don't want anything to go awry. Charlotte Hornets had done their research and cleared the name of Brandon Miller. But for some reason, this random ESPN commentator, Malika Andrews, who I don't know what she thinks she's doing, if she's a feminist that is responsible for cheating on black men. But I could see her in her apartment typing away, Googling away, trying to find something to pin on somebody in this draft. And she found Brandon Miller was a worthy target. But she wasn't the only one. There was a huge effort for the media to portray Brandon because he was a player on the basketball team to be the focal point of this murder trial. The incident happened in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. One of the friends of Brandon's teammate and a random guy that they ran into after hanging out at a bar, Brandon's friend then got into a shootout with that man. And during that shootout, the other man's girlfriend was deleted. The victim was a 23-year-old mother, Jamia Harris. Now in the media, they've been trying their hardest to connect Brandon Miller to this murder when he was not the one pulling the trigger. The only reason they wanted to connect him to the murder is because he was the star player at Alabama. That would garner ratings. That would be more of a more of a story than a random incident that happened after a bar one night. The fact that there were basketball players present made them a target. And this is something that I want my young brothers to be aware of. That as you become more of a public figure, as your stock rises in the NBA, just know that there will be people that are targeting you. I always think of the Eddie Murphy joke about the fight at the Danceteria, I think it was, where Eddie Murphy was being challenged. He swings on a guy and everybody in the club sues him. It was a disco ball. It fell down and the light refracted in my eye and I need $7 million, Eddie. So my young brothers, you have to be aware that you are being set up a lot of times, that you are being put in positions a lot of times to react, to get into some drama. And the problem with this situation is people like Malika are protected. Companies like ESPN and some of their co-workers are there because, they have to interact with her on a regular basis. And they don't want to ruffle any feathers. They don't want to rock the boat. So they side with her. And people online, I've seen a lot of women on Twitter that think, oh, why are these men always mad at Malika? She must be doing something right. No, what she's doing is dangerous. She's got to learn this lesson. I don't have any problem with her doing the job that she's come there to do. But when you are doing damage in addition to that, then there's a problem. Unfortunately, I don't think Malika's going to get this idea until somebody sues her, because I can think of the argument she had with Stephen A. Smith, which I covered on this channel. I can think of the Ime Udoka situation, which was part of that argument, where she wanted to make sure that he got punished and that he wasn't able to continue his career. Well, Ime Udoka was able to land a job at the Houston Rockets, much to Malika's chagrin. Of course, there was also Michigan State former player Adrian Payne, who was shot and killed, but not before Malika bringing up his record as the story was being reported. You see a trend here, you see a pattern. Oh, and don't forget Ime Udoka's replacement, Joe Mazzulla, who was going to take the job after Ime's departure, but not before Malika could point out that he was arrested twice in 2006 and 2011. Oh no, don't forget that. Don't forget that. You see what I'm saying? You see the pattern here? This type of person, as innocuous as it might seem, as leave it alone as you could. Like I said, I didn't even want to talk about this subject anymore because I'm tired of hearing her name come up for this exact same topic. But at a certain point, enough is enough. She's got to go. How can Disney and ESPN allow this woman to keep coming on here and doing this type of disparaging behavior? I promise you, if it was any other group, there would be no discussion. She would have been let go a long time ago and probably wouldn't have been able to work in the industry at all. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she wants to get fired, and so she's thinking of ways, creative ways, that she can get herself out of her job. But nobody's listening enough to let her go, especially if she gets let go and she's able to then file suit against ESPN for discrimination. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? And I think the PR job she does with Richard Jefferson of trying to be playful and trying to dance it up, we see through it. Because that person does not bring up this type of stuff on a consistent basis. They can't exist in the same breath. My message to ESPN is you have to make some type of adjustment over there with Malika. Either fire her or suspend her. There has to be some type of reprimand for this repeated offense. And as far as everybody else out here, I would not support an organization that allows that to go on a regular basis, especially when you're serving that very same community. That very same community is a large portion of the backbone of your business. But the course of actions remains to be seen. Anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Faucet Media.